virtual tour of the Early Learning Village at AIS. My name is Sarah. I'm one of the admission managers at AIS, and we are really looking forward to sharing a bit more about our wonderful school with you this morning. Now, before we get started, I might just ask everybody to please mute yourselves if you don't mind, just until a little bit later in the session. And the best way to enjoy today's session would be to ensure that your Zoom is set to speaker mode. This means that whoever is speaking will show up on a big screen rather than little tiles, which might make it a little bit easier for you. You can enable speaker mode by clicking View on the top right-hand corner of your screen and clicking Speaker. Now, joining us this morning, we have our Deputy Head of Early Years, Mr. James Holmes. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Sarah, and good morning to you all. Thanks for joining us.
And now I will pass over to our lovely Head of Early Years, Ms. Aromi Dasanaika. Good morning, Aromi.
Good morning, Sarah, and welcome everybody. So we are going to take you on a little tour today to show our fabulous facilities and our children in action. So the Early Learning Village is one of a kind place for young children. We all know that it takes a village to raise a child, so we built one. So Mr. James will take you through the level 2 playground, the swimming pool, the parent cafe, a few classes on level 5, and he will show you the rooms that we conduct our CCAs or our afternoon clubs, because now we are able to run our CCAs. And I will take you through our beautiful library spaces, a few classrooms, and then you'll join me back at level 2, where we will open the floor for any questions that you have. So I'm going to hand you over to Mr. James. See you soon.
Thank you, Aromi, and welcome again to everyone. So now you join me here on our level 2 playground, which is called the Green. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a look through the Green today, and we've got one of our lovely P3 classes, our Bilby ones, who are out here enjoying their playtime. So here in the AIS Early Years in our ELV, we have 3 separate purpose-built play spaces, which are across 3 separate levels. So through adventurous play, these playgrounds combine art, music, sand, and water, whilst also encouraging sensory exploration and inspiration. Now, we believe that this creates a safe and fun environment for learning, as well as helping our children to develop into confident young learners. So as I walk around the Green today, you'll see the different zones in which children can play with the natural elements. And besides these main play structures, we have a sand desk, water channel, and a splash table, which help to delight the children's senses, whilst also active play unfolds on the obstacle courses. So I'll pan around here, let you see some more of the space. Now, on our 3 separate playgrounds, we actually have a UV protected roof, which is 85% UV protected, which hopefully you can see over me just now. So through play, we believe that children develop social, cognitive skills, but really help to gain confidence to explore the world around them. And one of the things that I love about these play spaces here in the Early Learning Village is the way in which they really do support our belief in the importance of play. So as you can see here, a typical class of children playing in the play space are encouraged to take off their shoes, to run, to explore, and to take new risks whilst interacting in an environment that's safe, supportive, and encouraging. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a context of one of our incredible play spaces, the Green. Plenty of space, plenty of options for children to explore and enjoy, building connections with their friends. All right, so I'm going to move now from the Green playground. I'm going to take you past our parent cafe. So remember, I'm here on level 2 of our building, which is actually 7 stories high. So here we have our parent cafe. Miss Yonti's working there, lovely Miss Yonti, making a beautiful coffee and serving lots of lovely food. I'm going to take you a little bit later this morning down to level 1M, and through here you can see the Hive, which is our purpose-built multi-use gym area. Now, after this, I'm going to show you briefly our swim hum, but before I do, I want to just quickly show you as well our administrative officers. So there's Miss Eduarda, our wonderful early years secretary, and you'll find Romy and myself in these offices as well. So let me take you to the swim hub. So along with our outdoor play decks, we have a purpose-built 20-metre swimming pool, which is run by our team of swim instructors who all hold Australian accreditation. So here you can see a class right now enjoying their swimming lesson. Now here at AIS in the swim hub, we cater for babies all the way through to World Cup elite athletes and everything in between. So this facility here is fully customised, and it's also protected by the same roof, which is UV protected, which I described earlier. The pool has purpose-built teaching ledges and is 8 by 20 metres in length. So one of the great things which I love about this building and about this space in particular is that our children are really familiar with it. They pass it every day as they walk onto the green or through our building. Up above, you can see on a mezzanine level is our level 3 playground space, and that looks down into the pool as well. So it's a familiar space for the children. Now, in regards to water quality, it's absolutely second to none. We adhere to both Australian and Singapore standard, and the water's tested 4 times a day. So it really is a well-run operation here with our swim hub team. All right, so thank you for joining me on level 2. I'm now going to pass back over to Romy, who's not far from me, also on level 2 in our library space. Thanks, Romy.
Thank you, James. Okay, now I have to tell you, Mr. James has taken off the cover of my phone, and I'm really struggling to find the correct way of holding it, so apologies. Now I'm in the library. At AIS, we have 3 beautiful words that we always say. We talk about belonging, being, and becoming. So belonging is an important aspect for us in the early years. So we want families and our learners to feel that they're part of our AIS family. We value the knowledge you have of your child. So we really, really want to build those beautiful relationships with you. So now I'm in the beautiful library space. If I'm not in the office, I'm either in the library or in the playground. So this is one place that I love spending time. So each week, the children will join their class in the library. And during these sessions, the librarian will read 1 or 2 books together. And the children are invited to explore the library and select a book to take home. So we are reading for enjoyment in the library, and we encourage our children to make their own book choices. That is really building on their independence. So the educators are always there to support and guide the child if they need help. We do find that this is definitely the highlight for most children, as they love the freedom to make their own choices and to choose their own books. So of course, during non-COVID times, parents were welcome to come into the library before and after school hours. And I think we are moving towards that, which is really exciting news. Over here, we do encourage our little authors to write their own books. And you could see the Echidna trees have compiled a book around their favorite food from around the world. So you could see from China, they've talked about dumplings. From India, from the Filipinos, they're talking about mango lassi. From India, from New Zealand, it's about chocolate milk. And Singapore, of course, it has to be kaya toast. Our children love eating kaya toast. Now, multiculturalism is a term of great relevance in today's global context. With over 50 different nationalities representing our student population, we thrive on celebrating each other's culture and learning from each other. So you could see a beautiful display in the library, which we are going to celebrate Hari Raya very soon. So you could see books from around the world so that children are familiar with different religious practices and cultural experiences. So in our school, we celebrated our 19th International Cultural Experience Day or ICE Day, which was celebrated last year, and we celebrate it every year. So this event is packed with cultural workshops, performances, food from around the world. I really enjoyed, and I know James loves this day too. The theme of the event is immediately visible at the start of the day, as students and teachers enter the school dressed in colorful ethnic attire. So we are a very unique place. We start from, our school starts from, children enter school from 2 months to 18 years. So we call it from the cradle to graduation. So now I'm going to hand you over to Mr. James, who will talk about the P3 pod and our curriculum.
Thank you so much, Aromi, and welcome back. So now you join me on level 5. So I've just taken a short ride up in the lift, and I wanted to just show you, before I show you around the pod a little bit more, just the lift lobbies, and just to show you how the pods are connected on each floor, to give you a little bit of context. So as I turn my camera around, you'll see I've just come out of the lift here on level 5. And one of the great things about our building is that all of our pods are named after Australian animals. So here on level 5, we have our platypus pod and our bilby pod. So today I'm going to take you into the bilby pod. All right. Now, our pods are secured throughout the day. So I'll need to use my security access card in order to gain access to the pod. All right, so our bilby pod is home to our 3-year-old learners. So today I'm going to show you a little bit of the pod space. I'm going to show you some of the classrooms, as well as the outdoor spaces, which really complement and extend the classroom itself. Now, one of the great things about the design of our building here at the Early Learning Village is that it's very intentionally designed to promote community and relationships. So a place where lasting friendships for both children and adults are built. Now, I hope that you can gain a slight sense of the community in which the bilby pod is here. One of the great things, again, the children, they belong to a bilby classroom. So I'm part of bilby 1 and I belong to the bilby pod. It gives them that sense of belonging. So I'm going to speak to you a little bit about our inquiry-based program, which is introduced here from 3 years old. So the PYP, or the Primary Years Program, is a curriculum framework. We've got some of our 3-year-old bilby friends. Hello, Miss Alicia, Miss Shirley. Off to the playground? Fantastic, have a great time. So you'll see there some of our teachers and TAs taking the children off to the playground. So back to the PYP, or the inquiry program that we offer here. So it's a framework that places the child at the centre of the learning. And it's offered here, as I mentioned, from 3 years old at IAS, but all the way up to 12 years old, our year 5 students. So within this, students are the agents of their own learning and they're partners in the learning process. So by learning through inquiry and reflecting on their own learning, students develop knowledge and they develop conceptual understandings so that that knowledge can be transferred and applied across different areas. We also teach children to develop different skills as well as important attributes to help them make a difference in their own lives, their communities and beyond. So here in P3, we've just started our unit of sharing the planet. Okay, so as I go around, you'll see different provocations set up in the classroom spaces. Now, as I mentioned, sharing the planet is our current unit and the children are learning all about living things and how their needs must be met in order to grow and change. I'm going to take you just to the outdoor space here in our Bilby 2 classroom, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what I mentioned before about the space being an extension of the classroom itself. So through our units of inquiry, the children are really invited and encouraged to make connections to their prior understanding. So these opportunities are supported and they're facilitated by the teacher through questioning and through documenting and reflecting with the children. So you can see some of the resources and the spaces set up for inquiry and play. Now, the great thing about one of the great things I should say about our spaces here is that the way in which everything is centered around the child. So child height sinks, child height tables, even child height doors here. The children love to enter the classroom through. Now, I've spoken a little bit about the inquiry learning and teaching here in P3, but it would be remiss of me not to mention the intentional teaching that also occurs on a daily basis. Now, this includes creating an environment that's rich in materials and interactions, with opportunities for children to practice choosing, thinking, negotiating, problem solving, as well as taking risks. It involves the teacher actively joining in the child's play, tuning in and responding to their views and their ideas, as well as modelling thinking and problem solving. Now, our teachers also focus on early literacy and numeracy, and the power of play is really that driving tool for those to occur. Now, when we talk about early literacy and early numeracy, we're not necessarily talking about stenciled letters, counting practice at group times, writing practice, reciting the alphabet, or pasting pre-drawn letters or numbers onto a page. It's important for the learning to reflect a child's age and stage of development. So, for example, oral language is a significant part of early literacy. This includes conversation, listening to others, making up stories, songs, rhymes, and dramatic play, and so much more. Now, in our 4-year-old classes, we also offer a program called Pre-Lit. So this is a skills-based program which lays the foundation for children to learn to read. It's evidence-based and it focuses on phonological awareness, which is the awareness of and the ability to work with sounds in spoken language, as well as oral development through structured storybook reading. Now, I'm trying to just show you some of the different ways in which our materials are accessible to the students, the way in which the learning is documented and visible. So you can see here I mentioned about sharing the planet. So the children are learning about the central idea, and within that, they're looking through different lenses, okay, such as responsibility and change, and how they can connect those to other areas across the curriculum. So as I move a little bit more through the Bilby pod, I want to show you another outdoor space. Again, it's connecting these 2 classrooms together. So our Bilby 3 and our Bilby 4 classes have this beautiful outdoor space in which they can engage and learn together. Now, one of the wonderful things I love about the spaces here is both the similarities and the differences that children experience. Now, their own class community might be set up differently to the classroom next door, but the familiar layout of our pods and classrooms really help the children as they transition and move through the different parts of the different year levels in our school. As I head back out to the pod in a moment, you'll see, again, those things that are focused at a child's height. You'll see child height. We've got a kitchen in our pod, which has an area for children to stand and view and participate in the cooking lesson with the teacher. You'll see the toilets in which they are made specifically for the age of the children in our school. Okay? And you'll also see the way in which the classrooms extend beyond just the 4 walls of their classroom. So we have things like a pod library as well, which the children can go and engage in. Now, I'm going to quickly take you in to our Bilby 3 class. I've got Miss Nola here. Now, we're going to just have a quick sneak peek at a Mandarin lesson. Thank you, Miss Nola.
How did you know there was a pillow inside? Sure, right. Oh, monkey! Oh my goodness. Oh, monkey. Monkey. 猴子。猴子。
Thank you, Miss Nola.
My pleasure.
Okay, so what you just saw then was a very, very small snapshot of a P3 class, our 3-year-olds engaging in their Mandarin lesson. So that's a great time for me to speak a little bit more about the specialist program which takes place here in the early years. So from our pre-nursery classes all the way up to P4, the children have specialist lessons. So Mandarin is taught 4 times a week for 40 minutes. The children have PE twice a week, music twice a week, and a library session once a week as well. And the great thing about that program is it's taught by our fully qualified, highly specialised teachers who are experts in their field. Now, I know I've spoken a lot right here, but I just quickly wanted to show you the kitchen area before I hand you back to Aromi. So on the other side of that is a stage where children can stand and, as I mentioned, engage in the lesson, as well as our pod library spaces, everything at children's height, built specifically for their needs. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to hand you back to Aromi now, who I believe, Aromi, you've gone upstairs even further, up onto level 6. Is that right?
That's right, James. So I'm up at level 6 and I can show you how the swimming pool looks like from level 6. So I'm in the kangaroo and possum pot. So, but I thought I'll go into the possum pot today. So let me open the door. Here you go. So we are in the possum pod and we call it possum magic. So at the early years, we follow the Reggio Emilia approach and we view young children as individuals who are curious about their world and how powerful potentials to learn from from their surroundings. So you could see everywhere that you look in the early learning village, there are provocations set up so that children really think and question, because that's an important part of the Reggio Emilia philosophy. So the curriculum in our P1 and 2 classrooms stems from the particular interest of children. So curricular topics are driven by talking to children and their families, as well as from the things they are known to be interested in. So all of us know that children sometimes they would be interested in puddles, sometimes it will be dinosaurs, sometimes it will be books. So we really create an environment where we really encourage children to explore their interests. So teachers compare notes and observations in team planning sessions and decide which project would be the best suited for the class. So now you could see how they're set up the animals and then the trucks as well, because I know in this class, Ola is really interested in animals, while Stack is interested in trucks. Now, the classroom is referred as the third teacher because we strongly believe in the Reggio Emilia approach that the classroom becomes third teacher in the way you set it up. So, much like the approach, great care is taken to construct the environment which allows for easy exploration of various interests. So now I'm coming outside and it will look slightly different to what James showed you in a P3 pod. So now we are in a pod where we have 18-month-olds, 24-month-olds. So you could see how the sandpit is really set up to make sure that those provocations are really worthwhile. So like I said, I know Miss Kara's class, they are really interested in dinosaurs. And then, of course, the little tricycles and the other materials that really complement the play. Now I'm going to take you to another classroom. So we walk through the pod and I will show you the documentation. Because in the early years, we believe children have rights and not needs. So we really focus on building secure and trusted relationships with your child. So when children feel loved, cared, and respected, they begin to share their wanderings and their knowledge with the adult. Now I'm walking towards, again, we have our kitchen and I'm walking towards another classroom. So we really recognize children as unique individuals and celebrate their voice and interests while making learning visible. So you would have seen a lot of documentation. I'll take you to Miss Andrea's class and I will highlight the documentation that she has up on the walls. So now, here you are, you're in Miss Andrea's class. So you can see the documentation that's happening and we communicate authentically to our children. We speak in our authentic voices, we use real words and we talk with real things. We talk about real things.
We encourage our learners to build their communication skills by asking them questions, giving them plenty of time to respond, by always acknowledging their wanderings and ideas. So now the possums are talking about around the world, because borders have opened, our families are traveling, and it's a beautiful way to celebrate each other's travels or their home. Whenever they go to the home country, they bring beautiful artifacts. So it's a lovely way to start a unit. Now, they're a bit early in this pod. Normally you would see the lunch. So the lunch is being set up here. So lunch is served to all children in the early years. So today they've got brown rice, fish, and pumpkin with spinach. I know some parents would say, my child would not eat spinach, but in early years, we all try everything because we are very conscious about sustainability, about really making sure that we try everything. We try to be risk takers. Okay. Then, now I talked about the lunch. So lunch is served to all our children in the early years, and our dedicated nutritionists and chefs bring food to life through their passionate work by carefully creating menus. So James and I spend hours with our nutritionists, making sure that they create beautiful menus. And our little ones do have a nap at school. So we consult with families and children around children's sleep and rest time rituals. So educators really take the time to speak to you because it's very sensitive to each child's needs. We're very sensitive to each child's needs to make sure they have the best experience. So now, unfortunately, we don't have any children up here today because they're all in the playgrounds. Like James said, we have 3 different playgrounds. I think they're having a beautiful time before they come up for their lunch. So James, I'm going to hand over again to you because I know you're in the stream room. I saw some people outside work and I'm sure you're having a lovely time.
Thank you. Thanks, Saromi. And hello again. So you join me here on level 1M. So I'm down near the ground floor and I'm going to show you a little bit more about this level and the wonderful spaces that we have here. But as Saromi mentioned, yes, I'm in the steam room. One of my favourite places in the school where we have a number of different resources available for the children to engage with. And as I show you here, these are called cubettos and really helping our early learners already begin to learn about programming and how they can engage and interact with something from that technology field. So I'm going to quickly just scan across and just show you some of the amazing things that the children love to engage with. Within this space. So a range of different materials is really important for us to have. So I'm going to move out now and I'm going to show you again some of the other spaces in our level 1M. And as I walk through here, I can see one of our, again, a 3-year-old class. This is the class actually that was just on the green before where you joined me early. At the moment, they're enjoying a PE lesson with our specialist, Miss Anita. So you can see the children having a wonderful time in there, learning about different skills and movements, learning to take new risks and to explore. So this is just one of the spaces that we use for our PE lessons. All right, I'm going to take you back this way now, show you some of the other spaces, and I'm going to finish in the Hive, which is our gymnasium area, just to give you a really quick snapshot of that. Hi, Miss Emily. Hello, friends. Good morning. So again, I mentioned about some of those beautiful child height things, really placing the child at the centre. All of these windows, the children love to walk past and see what's happening inside. Likewise, looking out and see who's walking past. So another space set up as part of our Smart Steps program, our specialist program here in the early years. One of the important things that we've touched on today is the documentation that you'll see. Okay, we have some beautiful documentation here on level 1M around some of the things that are happening in our school. At the central part of this is our early years philosophy. We make it a deliberate act to have this on show in as many places as we can, really, because it really is something that we believe in and we live it and we breathe it every single day. So looking at some of the amazing documentation about the different inquiries that have taken place, really trying to show that student voice. sharing what their exploration was about. So as I move through here, we've got our Royal Bluebell room. You might have noticed the names of these rooms in a similar way to the pods named after Australian animals. These are all named after Australian plants and flowers. All right, I'm going to quickly take you in to show you the Hive. Just very, very briefly, which is our large gymnasium space. All right, now we have the flexibility to use this space in a number of ways. So as you saw just then, we had a barrier down in the middle so that multiple classes are able to use that at once. Now, before I finish up and join you back upstairs in our level 2 area, I do want to highlight our CCA program, which incidentally just kicked off again for our 4-year-old students last night. So a fantastic way in which we're able to start breaking out of the mold of COVID and restrictions. Last night, we enjoyed having children sign up for soccer sessions, for ballet, for basketball as well. Karate was another one on show. And we're also excited to begin this year our Mandarin lessons as well, which is a new initiative as part of our CCA program. So I'm going to join you back upstairs shortly. I'm going to hand you back to Sarah and Romy and look forward to engaging with you shortly and answering any of your questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for showing us around, and Miss Romy as well. I hope that gives everybody a bit of an idea and a feel for our early learning village. And for any families who are on the call that are in Singapore, we would love to show you around in person. So if you would like to arrange a school tour, we offer those every day as well. So please be in touch to let us know if you would like to have a school tour. This will bring us now to the question and answer part of the session. So please feel free to turn your cameras on, unmute yourselves and ask any questions. We do have the experts on the call with us. So anything that you'd like to know, please let us know. We also have a chat bar as well. So if you'd like, you're very welcome to pop a question in the chat bar and I can ask that on your behalf too. Now, before we get started with some questions, I was just wondering, Romy, if you might be able to share with us how our students come to school. You know, do most of the students walk to school? Do we have a bus system at AIS?
That's a good question, Sarah. Yes, most of our children are dropped off, so their parents come and drop them off. And there are 2 ways you can do it. Either you can come in person and drop them, because most of them, either you can drop them in their classroom if it's a P1 and a P2. So P1, P2, and P3. So the 18-month-olds, the 24-month-olds, and the 3-year-olds, you can drop them in their classroom in the pod area. Whereas the 4-year-olds, you can drop them in the bus bay where our teachers are. And of course, we have a bus system that runs so beautifully. So children are picked up from your condo or your house and they arrive to school. And I have to say, children really enjoy taking the bus because they feel very confident and they feel that they can do it on their own. So, but there's a thorough system where you need to have the harness, and of course, health and safety is our priority. So we make sure that's in place. So 2 ways, and there's the drive-through option as well. If you're rushing to work, you're coming through in a taxi, we are always down in level 1 to pick up your child. So there are 3 ways that you can really drop your child.
Thank you. And it's so lovely to see your friendly faces down there every morning, welcoming all of the new students as well.
That's right.
Very sweet. Lovely. Now, perhaps, James, you might be able to talk us through a little bit more about what time we drop off and what time we pick up for our early years students and what kind of the attendance options would be as well.
Sure, Sarah. Yes, absolutely. So it's nice to be talking about this as I mentioned earlier, as we're starting to come out of some of the stricter COVID restrictions. Throughout the COVID restricted times, we've actually had staggered pickup and drop-off times. So from 8 a.m. through till about 8:30, our P1s through to our P4s have a set time that a parent can drop them off. In saying that, we also offer options for parents who, might be working and need to drop their child off a little bit earlier, say than 8:30, so that option is available too. Our teachers are in the classrooms from 8 a.m. And again, as I allude to, with some of the restrictions easing, some of those processes for drop-off and pick-up will be changing, all for the better, allowing more access for our wonderful families to come onto campus, to engage with the teachers, to see us each day, and to see their child's classroom and pod. Sarah, you mentioned some of the different day options as well. I should mention before that our school day finishes at 3 p.m. as well. So from the day generally starts at about 8:30, between 8:30 and 8:45, and goes through till 3 p.m. Now, the day options, again, another real flexible part of our program. So from P1 all the way up to P4, we offer a 5-day option. We also offer a 4-day, so a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday option. We offer 5 half days, and we also offer a 3-day option as well. So it's either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So lots and lots of different choices based on the needs of your child, the needs of you as a family. We're able to cater for something that really works for you. And we find that what often happens is that families might enroll their child, and then they'll decide, or the child might say, I'm having so much fun, I want to come every single day. So that's my young son who's just begun in pre-nursery. He's a full 5-dayer, and he absolutely loves it and has a wonderful day here.
You're so right, James. I had a student start in the 5 half-day program earlier in the year, and by the end of the first week, he wanted to come 5 full days because all of his mates were staying all day, and he didn't want to leave them at lunchtime. So you're exactly right there. Lovely. Now, families, please feel free to ask some questions if you do have anything, or if there's anything that we covered today that wasn't super clear or you might like a little bit more information on. Aromi, we saw some of the beautiful outdoor play spaces. Would you be able to share a little bit more about how often the students head out to the playgrounds each day and how much time we spend outdoors?
Oh, again, a beautiful question, Sarah. Like with the COVID restrictions being, I can't believe it's happening though. James and I'm like, really, is it happening? Can we really play outdoors without a mask? Because we're not used to it. Yeah, even during COVID, we made sure that our children are outdoors at least twice a day for 30 minutes. But now we can have more time. And most of the time, Sarah, it's the children who decide that it's time to go out and play. And they can choose as well, because we have the beautiful musical bridge, because some children like to go there. And then we have the green, which of course James showed you. And then we have the canopy area, which has a beautiful water feature, sand and swings. So definitely twice a day they go out, and we have a secret garden where children really go out there, play with mud. I think that's the highlight of their week. Whenever they can go out to the secret garden, they really enjoy it, because unlike other schools, we can touch mud, we can see grass, we can pick flowers, we can make our own mud cakes. So that's the beauty of AIS. You're not in a building where there's aircon the whole day. You have the indoor and outdoor spaces, along with these 4 beautiful places that you can visit.
Thank you. They do love their messy play and their water play. They're always, we always see the children running around with beautifully, like decorated uniforms by the end of the day with all of the different things that they've been up to.
You're absolutely right, Sarah, because nobody goes home in the uniform.
No, that's right.
No one goes home with the uniform, because they had so much fun. And when they paint, they really want to enjoy. So they use their hands, they use their feet. It's just so, it's definitely play-based.
That's right. Now, we've just had the start of our second term last week, so maybe you might be able to share a little bit more about the settling in process for our new families and how that might work for us in the Early Learning Village.
I think James is the best person to answer this question, because his little son started in pre-nursery on Monday. James, tell us how good the school is.
I've got to I keep reminding myself not to talk in these things too much about my own child, but from that perspective as well, it's been really nice as a parent to really have a great understanding of what the experience is like. So I can say truthfully and honestly that the experience of settling in and transitioning into a new school is nothing short of exceptional. So right from when my son was enrolled, we were contacted by the classroom teacher. We were given all of the information in which we needed around the contact details for the teachers, what the school day looks like, what are the things that we need to pack, everything that we needed. And there were things that we didn't know and we thought we knew and were different. And any time we needed to reach out, the teacher was available. So one of the things we also had the option of doing, because my child transitioned from infant care, was a transition session. So that was an opportunity for us to go and meet with his teacher, and importantly for him to see his classroom environment. the teacher reached out beforehand as well and wanted to know more about our family and more about our son Jensen. So we were able to share with her some of our traditions, our celebrations that we celebrate in our family, what his interests were. And so in preparation for him joining and for him coming to see the classroom, the teachers had beautifully set up these provocations for our son. So as soon as he walked in, I should mention, actually, even prior to visiting, we got a beautiful video of the space. So we showed that to him and we talked to him about it. And he's 18 months old and his language is just starting to develop, but he was so engaged with the video that when he got to the classroom, he knew exactly where he wanted to go and what he wanted to play with. So it really gave us as parents a sense of comfort, knowing that he was happy in that space. And he's just had such a beautiful transition into a new class. So really, I just want to highlight the effort that the teachers go to in order to connect with the families. So it really is about building that strong partnership between home and school. And no question is too silly or too small or too big for the teachers to handle. So we really just want to make sure that you and your family, and importantly your child, feels really comfortable and safe in our setting, which they are. And it's that continued partnership throughout. And Romy, was there anything else that you wanted to add around the settling in period? I think we also try to meet as many new families as we can, and likewise encourage you, if you're here on island, come in and meet us, come and say hello and have a tour. We'll show you around in person.
Yes, James, and I always say we're all parents. We all have had this experience. My son is 20, but I remember the first day he went to school. So yeah, most of them come down to level 2 and have a chat with us. And we sneak back into the classroom, take a few pictures and share with the parents as well. So yeah, they are in good hands.
It's so lovely that both of you have been teaching at AIS for so long, and now you've got the parent hat as well, James, that you can actually experience it from that perspective as well. So that's so lovely to hear. So thank you for sharing that with us. Aroma, you were just mentioning about some photos and videos. Perhaps you might be able to tell us a little bit more about Story Park and how we communicate with the parents as well.
That's right. So Story Park is a digital portfolio, and rather than receiving a report at the end of the term, you'll be getting really information about what your child is doing every 2 weeks. And this is individual posts. So say Jensen is really interested in cars and he's really exploring the schema of transportation. The teachers would create these beautiful videos where he's playing with cars, where he's exploring the language, where he's exploring literacy by counting the cars. And they put this beautiful video and a story together and they share it through the Story Park portal. And as a parent, you're in charge. You're there. You control whom you want to share the story with. So you can share it with your mother who is in Australia, your husband's father who is in France, and your auntie who is in England. And then whenever your relatives speak to you or speak to your child, they would always say, Jensen, I saw you playing with the cars. I see that you were really enjoying. And those are beautiful conversations. We really celebrate that. It is our reporting process. So there are learning tags as well. So you would know what happened in the class, how did this interest come about, and then what as a parent, what you could do next to really develop the interest. And again, James and I, we always check these story parks to see what's happening in the classroom, because it's a beautiful way that we can know how the interest of the children as well. And then when we see certain children, we would say, I saw that you were painting with the color blue yesterday. And then they will look at us like, how do you know? We didn't see you in the classroom. A great way to make connections with families and really see your child's progress. So that it is the online digital portfolio.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Now, we've got one last question here, unless anybody else had any questions that they would like to ask. But perhaps, James, you could just tell us a little bit more about the diversity of our students and where our students come from.
Absolutely, yeah. It's incredible. I think we just continue to grow in that area, and it's something that we really value here at AIS. And Romy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it might be more than 50. Is that right? Different nationalities in our school.
That's right. Yes.
So an incredibly diverse place where everyone's culture and background is really respected and valued. Again, I touch on, you know, the teachers and building that connection with families, like we want to know about what does your family celebrate and what's important and significant to you. So that enables us as a school to really help to bring that connection closer. So a hugely diverse background of that make up our community. We have, you know, a fairly large number of Australian families, as well as families from New Zealand and the UK, from China, a lot of Singaporean families as well, which are joining us. And it's a really beautiful way for us to, I guess, really understand that idea of international mindedness, which is something that the PYP, which I spoke about, that inquiry curriculum framework, it really promotes. Oh, I can't hear you there, Sarah.
Sorry, that was me. I didn't click the button. Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. We have a question here from June, just asking if we can share a little bit more about the class sizes and the teacher to student ratio. So if you wouldn't mind just letting us know a little bit about that, that would be wonderful.
Sure. So in our P4 classes, the 4-year classes, you would have 21 children with 3 adults. So the ratio would be 7:1. In our P3 classes, it would be the same. Whereas in our P1, so the 18-month-olds to the 3-year-olds, P1 and the P2 classes, we would have 15 children with 3 adults. So the ratio would be 1:5. And in infant care, it's 4:1. So we'll have 4 infants with 4 infants with 1 educator.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Lovely. Now, if nobody had any other questions, we will conclude the session here. Oh, we've got something from Alicia here. Let me just have a quick look. So, James, you did mention we've got the beautiful UV protection over the pool and over the play spaces. Is there any policies that we have for the children when they head outside?
So no, here in the early years, because of the way that the building's designed, the children don't need to wear hats. They're well protected from the sun in those spaces. In saying that, when our students move into prep, which is part of the elementary school, they're encouraged to wear a school hat, because the prep students as well get the opportunity to join play in our main campus as well. So some of the other play spaces. So for us in the early years, no, but you're certainly welcome to as well. But yes, those, as I mentioned, the structures that are built over each of the play spaces and each of the classroom spaces, they're all protected from all types of weather. Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you. Fantastic. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you are on Island and would like to come and have a visit and come and say hello to James and Aromi or one of our admissions team, we will be delighted to show you around. So we will be in contact after this, just to follow up, and then we can answer any further questions that you might have as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to Aromi and James for showing us around today. It was so lovely to have a look.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you everybody for joining us. And yes, please do come visit us. We would be happy to show you around.